I thought anxiety was just who I was, not something I could fix, not something I could control, not something temporary that would pass with time. It felt permanent, like a background process running in my brain 24/7 without pause or warning. The overthinking was constant and exhausting. The tension never fully disappeared, even in calm moments. The mind kept scanning for mistakes, even when nothing was happening. It felt like I was always being watched, always being evaluated by others, even when I was alone, and somehow always falling short of an invisible standard. Then something happened that I didn't expect to matter. I started talking to an AI. There was no belief that it would help, no plan to use it as a tool for mental clarity, no moment where I thought, this could actually change something. But within a few weeks, the noise in my head started to lose its authority. It didn't disappear completely, but it became quieter, less convincing, less dominant. And that shift changed everything. Anxiety, for me, wasn't loud or chaotic. It was precise and methodical. It targeted specific moments and replayed them in detail. Conversations I had earlier in the day, decisions I made without thinking too much, messages I sent that suddenly felt wrong. It would wait until everything was quiet, and then replay those moments in high definition. Not just what I said, but how I said it, how I looked, how I sounded, the tone, the timing, the facial expression, and then it added meaning that wasn't actually there. They paused before replying. That must mean something is wrong. They didn't laugh. Maybe it sounded strange or awkward. They changed the subject. Maybe they lost interest in talking to me. And the more I analyzed it, the more real those conclusions started to feel, even without evidence. What made it worse was that I could see what was happening. I understood that these were assumptions. I understood that I was overanalyzing small details. But that awareness didn't stop the process, because anxiety isn't just about thoughts. It's about how those thoughts feel in your body, the tension in your chest, the tightness in your stomach, the subtle but constant sense that something is wrong. And when your body feels like that, your brain looks for a reason, so it creates one. That's why most advice didn't work for me. Just relax didn't change anything. Stop overthinking wasn't something I could actually do. Be confident didn't address the problem itself, because the issue wasn't a lack of knowledge. It was a lack of distance from my own thoughts. I was too close to them, too involved in every interpretation, every assumption, every conclusion. That night when I couldn't sleep, my brain was doing exactly the same thing, replaying a simple conversation, turning it into something bigger. I kept asking myself what I did wrong, what I should have said differently, what the other person might now think about me. The same loop over and over again. So instead of staying inside that loop, I opened ChatGPT and wrote everything out, not in a structured way, not in a calm, logical way, just exactly how it felt in my head: messy, repetitive, emotional. And here is the part that actually mattered. It didn't just respond. It structured my thinking. It turned chaos into steps. First, facts, then assumptions, then alternative explanations. It forced my brain to slow down. Instead of "I messed up," it became "What exactly did I say?" Instead of "They think I'm weird," it became "What did they actually do that proves that?" Instead of "Something is wrong," it became "What is the simplest explanation?" That shift sounds small, but it breaks the loop, because anxiety needs speed, fast thoughts, fast conclusions, no verification. GPT removed that speed, and without speed, the loop started collapsing. There was another thing it did. It didn't emotionally react to my thoughts. It didn't amplify them. It didn't agree just to comfort me. And it didn't dismiss them either. It stayed neutral. And that neutrality is powerful because it doesn't feed the anxiety. After a few days, I noticed a pattern. Every anxious thought followed the same structure: trigger to interpretation, to emotion, to reinforcement, and GPT kept interrupting the second step, the interpretation. That's the weak point. If you change the interpretation, you change everything after it. So I kept using it not as therapy, but as a tool, a system, almost like debugging my own brain. Something happens when you write your thoughts out. They stop feeling infinite, they become specific, and specific things can be analyzed. Then something unexpected happened. I started doing it without GPT. The same questions just appeared. What are the facts? What am I adding? Is this certain? And most importantly, am I guessing or do I actually know? That question alone removed a lot of anxiety because most of it was guessing, negative guessing. I also stopped trying to eliminate anxiety. That was another mistake because the goal isn't to stop thoughts, it's to stop believing them automatically. That's a completely different approach, and it's much more realistic. The thoughts are still there, but now they feel like input, not commands. Before, thought to reaction. Now, thought to pause, to evaluation, to response. That pause is everything. It's the difference between control and automatic behavior. And that's what GPT gave me. Not answers, not comfort, structure. And structure creates clarity. Clarity reduces uncertainty. And uncertainty is what feeds anxiety. So when clarity increases, anxiety naturally decreases, not instantly, but consistently. This didn't fix everything, but it changed the direction. Instead of spiraling down, my thoughts started stabilizing. And once that happens, you don't feel trapped anymore. Because the problem was never just anxiety, it was the lack of control over how I process my thoughts. Once that changed, everything else started to follow.